Like I'm on Facebook with something like that. All right, let's go. And I'm pretty sure I've seen this. Hey, thanks, Dragon. Oh, what a goofball. How silly, you fucked up. Boo. Boo. How embarrassing. How embarrassing. That is an epic fail. Oh, boo! Our country frowns. You've insulted our nation. Karma, take that. That'll teach ya. Yeah, I mean, this is like a really old video on the internet. Wasn't this video confirmed to be like a little publicity stunt? I remember this on E-Bomb's World. Thanks to the resub Russell, Sinrose, and Aaron from Corporate. Yeah, it was. I thought so. What kind of ice cream topping do you prefer? None. Just straight chocolate. Thanks to the resub Boom. Oh. Oh, it's all good, Fluster. Can you check out school breakfast pizza bagels? Thanks to Prime Weasel Boy.
Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel.
And
It's
resub
Sarah
Goats.
Dishes. Today I will be making your school breakfast pizza bagel. Yes, now if you went to school a few years ago, you know that they had a pizza bagel
Goats.
and it was really banging. It was good, yeah.
I already like
so
Kurt,
that's what I'm gonna be
Kurt
making.
Sagat.
I have 2 bagels. You're gonna split those bagels apart. I have cooked ground turkey. If you want to use regular sausage, you can. This is my cheese. You're supposed to use mozzarella, but that's actually bacon and I know it's mixed with bacon. I forgot the name of it, but I'm pretty sure there's in your store. I just got that because I had it laying around. Now to make the roux, I should have showed you.
This doesn't seem like bad cooking. This seems great.
Butter. Unsalted.
This recipe sounds fantastic.
I'm also gonna use 3/4 cup of flour. That's all-purpose flour. I have 2 cups of milk, and I'm also gonna be seasoning it with salt and pepper.
Well, let's run it.
Mix that in because you don't want the raw flour taste or anything. So make sure you mix it in real good. Okay, now once that's all mixed in, you pretty much want to add in your milk gradually. Now, I added 1 cup.
Damn, hey, thank you for the fucking fat 25 gift subs, Eddie.
Thick, so I added another cup, so it's going to be a total of 2 cups.
Appreciate the generosity.
While you're pretty much pouring in your milk, you want to keep stirring
it
so it don't clump up or anything. So, yeah, you see how you can still see, like, it's starting to clump up. That's why I tell you to
the huge drop.
Make sure you whisk it up so you know it don't.
And this doesn't seem like a bad cooking video.
And spoons of
seems pretty normal.
Now it's not gonna coat, with everything, all the mixture. See how it looks? It's not gonna coat the whole mixture. That's when I'm gonna get the spoon.
I feel like it'd be better if you did this in different steps.
By you coating it like that, it's pretty much getting over the whole bagel.
Really, thank you again for the big drop, Eddie Bot. The resub Launchpad and
Cat. I'm sorry, y'all. I spooned it off for camera, but yeah, this is how it looks once I pretty much spoon it on. And you want to do that to all your bagels. Layer it like 3 cheese. Okay, so yeah,
seems
I'm
fine.
Gonna plate it up. I feel like I was back in
Oh,
school. Well, without the schoolwork, thank God.
nice. Thanks for the bits, Alexcovia and Bouncy. You should watch Spook Search 2004. Sounds horrible. Ah, this is this your video? What is this, like a series? I don't know if I want to watch like 20 parts. Is it tier 1 not combat Carl? Alright, we'll do Murder Blood Tunnel.
Hi, I'm Austin Flory, Canada's third best ghost hunter.
Oh, this is
Today
satire.
we're here in Long Pine, Nebraska to investigate rumors of paranormal activity just 4 miles south of here in a place locals call Murder
Yeah, I
Blood
know Silver.
Tunnel. Joining
She
us
was
is our
very drunk
fearless
during the
cameraman,
Bloodborne raid I
Chris.
saw.
Wait. Murder Blood Tunnel?
That's probably enough of that. I'm sure it's great, though. Thanks to Prime. Burning Toast, Sully Cast, and the gift sub Deathstorm, and resub Captain Flood. TV Tech Blooper Man accidentally breaks one-of-a-kind antique. That's another old viral video. I'm sure we've all seen that. That was from one of like one of YouTube's first like tech reviewers. Yep, I've watched all of Barbie Jeep Racing. Seen that as well, Soupy. That's another massively popular one. You should check out Chest Friends. What is it? Thanks for resub Pandalorian. Ah, your video. I see we have a lot of self-promotion tonight for some reason. Very wacky. Ah, and bots. How sad. Very silly. I'll never understand why people make Twitch bots. It never works. This is Prime Posey. We finished Geek Love a long time ago. Yep, I can tell you right now, Bash, can't watch that. 100% can't watch that with that title. Should try watching YouTube Blood Cult. Man, people really forget what website we're on right now. I can't watch something called Blood Cult. I can't watch anything with like real blood in it. Assuming that is like a real cult with blood. Things that Prime Wacko Jacko. Turning a box of chocolate cake into wine. This? Is this once again a self-promo? Alright.
I'm about to make some chocolate cake wine. Y'all about to get this cake.
Thanks to
All right, so
resub
we'll get
Luke.
some water in a pot.
Hold over and give sub Wimster.
Put your chocolate mix in there. Some chocolate cake mix right here.
We're feeling it now, fuck
Put a pound
yeah!
of sugar. It's 2 1/4 cups.
Seems like an awful lot of sugar, but I'm no chef. Thanks to tier 1 Angel. Now we finished Geek Love.
Stir that in good.
That was one of the first series we ever finished. Such a good series.
Looks like you're making hot cocoa. Actually, we should do a hot cocoa wine too.
Thanks to resub Crispy. Sorry to hear that, Cuts. Thanks to resub Chills.
Now, when we're brewing this, it's going to be a lot of sludge. And I don't even know if this is going to work yet, because we haven't tried this yet. But we're going to find out. Even if it fails, I'm still going to post a video, so
Well, let's find out if
Guess if
it
you want-
works.
We'll rebottle.
Oh, holy shit.
Use this siphon and put it in these bottles.
It looks like it's coming along great. Beautiful sewage.
Yoo-hoo, boy. Chocolate cakes.
He's a tier 1 air cool guy.
Got a bottle and a half of chocolate cake. I'm about to try it. Let you know what's up.
Wait, is this the final product?
Try this
Oh,
poop soup.
goddamn. I pee in pools. Good man.
Who's thick? So thick you gotta chew it. I knew that flour would be a issue. It tastes fruity, dude.
Finally, some real scientists, though.
It does.
Tastes more fruity than it does chocolate.
There's the chocolate. It comes in real
Thanks
late.
to give sub Venus. The resub stew.
I ate the chocolate real late. It looks like a yoo-hoo.
It looks like a U2 if it was like
It's definitely odd.
covered in
It
dirt
is
and
definitely
filth.
I mean, we made it happen.
It's still a little sweet.
Yeah, it is sweet. That's wild. Like sweet, like fruit. Not even so much.
Yeah.
Not like sugar sweet. Like
I don't know. I could drink it.
yeah,
It's not the greatest one I ever had.
ain't the worst one either.
Yeah, definitely. ain't the
It's
worst.
probably better than most wine, if I had to
Try
guess.
some Yoo-hoo or something soon too.
Yeah,
Drinking
something
mud
like
would be better than drinking most red wines. And by most, I mean literally all. Thanks to resub Lucid in tow. No, you're all good, Deathstorm. Red wine fucking sucks. It's so bad. It's like actually drinking boredom. When you drink red wine, you are actually getting rid of your own fun. It's fucking terrible. Red wine sucks. It's like drinking the most offensively awful yet bland thing of your life. It's like the driest absence of hope and fun. It's like actually what a Dementor would probably feel like. It's terrible. Actually, the Tin Slayer. If The Room was a Marvel movie. This?
It's bullshit. I did not hit her.
That ain't soldier. Colonel Nick Fury, director of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh, hi, Nick. Anyway, how is your sex life?
Well, to be honest with you, we don't really know.
Go on.
This looks pretty
There's
good.
still a lot of work to be done.
Good movie.
I'm here to talk to you about the Avengers Initiative.
If a lot of people love each other, the world would be a better place to
Makes a
live.
bit fluster. In the
Except
prime.
for you.
Hell yes.
Eblingata.
Eat, huh? Anything for my friend.
You should have gone for the head.
Oh, hey, everybody.
That's not the real time stone. Doctor Strange got it from a cereal box.
You're just a little chicken. Chip, 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 chip.
Yeah, bro. This time you're gonna have to beat the real Avengers, not the JV squad.
This is pretty wild. Jesus Christ.
so-
That's probably enough of that, though. Very well done. Moscato tastes like God. Well, I mean, Moscato's like grape juice. So yeah, it's fine. No problem with that. Really, the only horrible one is red wine. Ludwig was down to like 40 seconds earlier when I was watching. And yeah, now it's up to 23 hours. I already watch all of his content, Sammy. Top 10 worst prisons in history. Is that rated by effectiveness or how awful they are? As in, like, miserable to be in. Alright, what do we got?
Ten worst prisons in history.
Is this a bot
Number
or a
10,
person?
Pitești Prison. From 1949 until 1951, this Stalinist Romanian prison was home to an infamous experiment known
Thanks
as
to
the
give subs,
Pitești
Boston.
experiment.
Resub Randy.
According to Open Democracy, this quote-unquote experiment was actually started by inmates of the prison itself, who had previously been jailed as anti-communist fascists. They formed the ODCC, or the Organization of Prisoners with Communist Convictions, and went about re-educating other inmates in the most horrifying ways possible. This included torturing other inmates by making them stare at light bulbs, making them repeatedly headbutt each other, and even electrocution. They were also kept in squalid conditions on purpose and forced to perform humiliating tasks such as baptisms involving sewage. This would then psychologically break other prisoners into joining the ODCC and renouncing their anti-communist tendencies. It's worth noting too that this was fully supported by the director of the prison himself. This brutality was eventually stopped in 1952 after a regime shift in the country, but by that point, over 700 prisoners had been through the horrific process, 30 of whom died.
Yeah, true, Elemental.
Number 9. The Mamertine. Labelling Italy's Mamertine as a prison is a bit of a misnomer really, as it was more similar to a hybrid of a 12-foot deep underground dungeon and a sewage system. Built in the 7th century BC, the Mamertine was essentially two dark, dank cells stacked on top of each other. There was no natural light due to them being subterranean. In fact, the only way to get out or into the lower cell was via a hole in the ground of the upper one.
You could absolutely climb
that.
That.
Historian described it as having a fearsome darkness and stench. Prisoners were often put into the lower chamber before execution. Failing that, they just left them there to rot and starve. It's worth reminding too that this complex was built within a sewage system. Legend has it that Saints Peter and Paul were actually held there, but did not die as they were later crucified. For this reason, it's part of various pilgrimages since it's been converted into a church, memorialising the abject horror the prisoners of the Mamertine went through. Number 8.
That is a pretty wacky prison, that's for sure.
In 1916, naturalist Roy Chapman Andrews, future director of the American Museum of Natural History, travelled across Asia. He documented his experiences in his book Across Mongolian Plains in 1921, during which he mentions witnessing a prison he described as one of the worst in the world. In it, he mentioned seeing rooms full of coffins that were 4 feet long and 2 feet wide inside a prison in Urga, Mongolia. Andrews explains that it was these tombs that were the prisoners' cells.
This doesn't look nearly as bad as the last one.
Could not fully lay down or sit up comfortably. There was just a 6-inch wide hole in the coffins where they're given food. That is, to quote Andrews, if they remember to give them any. The prisoners were also handcuffed and their limbs would shrivel away due to lack of use. While the length of stay in these caskets varied, and would often be used purely to hold prisoners before they were executed, many of those incarcerated here unsurprisingly died in this horrific captivity. Number 7. Camp Sumter Military Prison, Georgia.
These are
during
pretty
the American
intense.
Civil War in February of 1864, Camp Sumter Military Prison was the largest Confederate prison in the whole conflict. Also known as Andersonville, Camp Sumter was built to hold 10,000 people, but held over 30,000, which gives you a hint at the problems it faced. The prison was supposed to be built rapidly, but the price of lumber was hugely inflated at the time, which meant it was never fully built properly. As a result, because there were no barracks to keep them in, instead the prisoners were open to the elements almost all of the time. Some of them had shanties made of blankets and bits
That
of
is
wood,
not nearly as bad as the
dug
last
holes
two.
in the ground for themselves. The camp was built around a creek with water running through it. However, this was soon contaminated with sewage, making the prisoners extremely vulnerable to disease. There was also very little in the way of food due to the Confederates losing supplies. And what food they had was of extremely low quality with next to no proper preparation. By the time the prison was closed at the end of the war, 13,000 inmates had died as a result of
What would be the worst prison possible?
Henry Vers was executed for their
I really feel like the
murder.
last one is like top
Number 6,
level, like even in
Carandiru
fantasy, worst
Penitentiary.
prison.
Over 7,000 inmates lived within the walls of Brazil's Carandiru Penitentiary, whereas there was only space for a
Here's the
third
bits
that
MJ.
number. As a result, there was one guard per every 100
Already
prisoners,
seen
so
him, guys.
things were bound to go wrong. As soon as the prisoners arrived, they are told that they need to rent their cells. Even those lucky enough to have left the prison still apparently owed back payments for this. They actually tended to have a fair bit of freedom and control and could get whatever they want within the prison through illicit means, including mobile phones. There's even a prison
This doesn't
within
sound
the
bad at
prison
all.
called the Yellow.
It's
and
just kind of
those
like student
inside
debt for
rarely see
prisoners.
sunlight. However, it's most famous for the results of a riot after a game of soccer. 300 police officers stormed the jail and killed over 100 prisoners.
Oh, shit.
Allegedly, this included prisoners who had surrendered or were trying to hide, often at close range. In 2014, 73 of the police officers were convicted, some of whom were sentenced to 156 years in jail.
What
the
the
prison was later
fuck?
demolished in 2002. Number 5.
Holy
Devil's
shit.
Island. 10 miles off the coast of French Guiana lay one of the deadliest and most notorious jails in the whole of the French penal colony, Île du Diable, or Devil's Island. Initially used as a leper colony, soon political prisoners were sent to the island too,
Thanks for 5
during
new
its
subs
use
off.
between 1852 and
Appreciate it, man. Thanks for the
1953.
5 new
The
subs.
prison was pretty much the only building on the whole island surrounded
we've
by
watched it, Dixie.
shark-infested waters, which were
With
often the
Aaron.
downfall of any seafaring would-be escapees. The convicts were forced to provide labour in all conditions while shackled. Some were even exposed to the elements all of the time, with no roof on their very small cells. This meant they were often attacked by animals on the island too, like vampire bats and rats. Solitary confinement wasn't much better though, as that was spent in complete darkness. Devil's Island saw 80,000 prisoners come and go, though the vast majority never got to leave the island as thousands upon thousands died of various diseases, as well as the poor diet and labour conditions. To this day, the general public can visit other islands in the former penal colony, but venturing to Devil's Island is strictly taboo.
Yeah, there's probably
Number
just like a
4,
ton of corpses
the
and shit there.
HMS Jersey. It's late 18th century in America,
There's a bit
at
Elmer,
the height of
Prime,
the war
lights
for
out.
independence against the British, who were occupying New York City at the time. Prisoners of war
There's a
or
prison
rebels
fist.
had to be imprisoned by the British somewhere, as they numbered by the thousands. So the British used warships that were docked at shore to keep them on as prison ships. The worst of these was the ship nicknamed Hell, the HMS Jersey. It transpires that name is horrifyingly suitable. This ship kept more than 1,000 prisoners on board, where
cool
they were
name.
tortured, starved, and exposed to a deadly combination of diseases. This ship was meant for 400 sailors. The prisoners had nowhere to even sit or
Thanks for
lie
resub.
down. Since the vast
Papillon.
majority of them were kept below deck, there was no sunlight and very little ventilation. In the summer, it was deathly warm. In the
That was
winter,
super sweet. Thank you, Young
unspeakably
Feels.
cold.
Thanks for the long
Those
time
on
of
board the
watching.
ship were eventually given a choice.
Appreciate it.
One way out was to betray their country and join the British Army. But the many thousands that died clearly didn't take or weren't even
Why?
given that choice, as the number of people who perished on board the Jersey and other prison ships was almost 3 times the amount of the patriots
so
who died
dumb.
in armed combat. Number 3. Hoalo Prison, Vietnam.
Do you want to die? Or
Nicknamed
just
the Hanoi Hilton
not
during the
support your
Vietnam
country
War,
anymore?
Hoalo Prison was anything
dying
but
for their country
luxury.
got them
A prison
nothing.
camp for American
They don't even know their
prisoners of war,
names.
The conditions at Hoalo deteriorated rapidly with the increase of prisoners. The Vietnamese government used extreme methods of torture in order to extract military secrets from the US soldiers, including rope bindings, beatings, and solitary confinement. As well as this, prisoners' legs were often strapped into iron stocks that were left from the French colonial era of the prison. These were so tight that they often cut into the skin, causing lacerations and infection. They were also forced to defecate where they lay and left to rot with the rats and cockroaches.
Fuck.
Prisoners were rarely fed, as starvation was used as a form of torture, and when they were fed, they were often given watery soups with feces and rocks. George
Thanks for
McKnight, a
Ahab.
6'2" US soldier, was forced to lay in a 4-foot trench with his hands tied behind his back for 34 days, as punishment for trying to escape Hoalo. The Vietnamese government still denies the wrongdoings to these POWs to this very day. Number 2. Tadmor Prison, Syria. Built by the French in the 1930s,
Oh, is this-
Tadmor
oh, this is
Prison is
recent.
located in the heart of the Syrian desert, and was the place that Syrian Prime Minister Hafez al-Assad sent thousands of political dissidents to be humiliated, tortured, and executed between 1971 and 2000. The prison is best known for the 1980 massacre. After a failed attempt at assassinating Assad, members of the Defense Brigade flew to Tamdur and their soldiers went from cell to cell, shooting prisoners with machine guns. An Amnesty International report estimates that up to 1,000 people were murdered in just minutes, most of which were supporters of the Muslim
Good
Brotherhood.
Lord.
Their bodies were dumped in mass graves outside the prison. Cells had windows covered with barbed wire, and prisoners were under permanent surveillance and not allowed to make eye contact with each other. On arrival, new inmates were thrown a reception party, where they were whipped mercilessly, forced into car tires, and beaten. Some prisoners never even made it through that reception. When inmates would cry out for medical
put
help
them
for
into
other
car
dying prisoners,
tires?
they were told
like
only
Ed, Ed
call
and Eddie
us
shit.
to collect bodies. Number 1. Holmesburg
There's the reset,
Prison,
Captain
Philadelphia,
Pancake.
USA. Holmesburg Prison was opened in 1896 to help relieve overcrowding at the nearby Moyamensing Prison.
Yeah,
Much like other entries in this list, this prison was no stranger to torture, corruption, and murder. In 1938, over half of the inmates went on hunger strike because the food was that bad. 25 of these were identified as leaders of the strike and were taken to a building called the Klondike, a narrow cell block lined with radiators and steam pipes which, in the peak of the August heatwave, reached nearly 200 degrees.
Woo!
4 of these men died with injuries pertaining to severe beatings and being boiled alive.
Exhibits fluffy.
The prison has also been the setting of many murders, including that of the warden and his deputy in 1973, and a bloody riot in 1970 in which prisoners were armed with meat cleavers and boning knives. During a lawsuit that followed, attention was drawn to the filthy and overcrowded conditions and severe beatings that inmates had to endure. As if that wasn't bad enough, prisoners were also subjected to medical experiments, where Dr. Albert Kligman exposed participants to herpes, staphylococcus, radioactive isotopes, chemicals that caused skin blistering, psychoactive drugs, and carcinogens. So those were the 10 worst prisons in history.
Well, I think we can all agree which one was the worst. This one. This one is fucking wild. They put you in like an actual coffin. That's the whole prison. You just go into a coffin with your hands cuffed and die of starvation eventually. Holy shit. We've seen Paranormal Home Inspectors. It's not very good. Unfortunately. At least the ones we watch. Thanks for your sub, Cool Cat. Okay. Next bit's cult. Redditors dive into turmoil. Jesus Christ, whatever. Oh, it's an Expo video? So this is like my least favorite series that he does with the Redditor stuff, because it really all feels super fake. Like 100% of these feel fake. Like we watched this one, and this one was just, I'm gonna try Datura. Datura is bad. Datura is bad, don't do it. And then he makes another post that's just gibberish. And then that's it. This one is real. This one's real? Alright. Hold on, before I watch this, let me fill up my water real quick. I'm pretty thirsty. Thanks for 2 gift subs, Cool Cat. I'll be right back.